الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا وصلى الله وسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين صادق الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ونحن معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد, جزاكم الله خير for inviting me in this beautiful gathering of Nur, gathering of Muhibba.
Subhanallah.
Love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that love penetrates through all of our hearts individually, one by one, inshallah. We've all gathered here with different intentions, some of our intentions being small and some of our intentions being big. But most importantly, we've all come together for the love of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَهُوَ شَفَاعَةُ الْعُظْمَى, and he is the greatest form of intercession. Summiya, he was named Shafa'at al-Udma because his shafa'a is not limited to a time. Meaning it's not just shafa'a, intercession for Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's not just for Yawm al-Qiyamah, but it was at the time when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba lived together. The shafa'a continues till now, until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now, amongst the narrations that I recall was a time when the Prophet ﷺ was walking and he found a little girl crying. And he asked her, Ma biki, ma sha'nuki? He said, what's wrong with you? What's your affair? Why do you sit here crying? She says that because my masters have sent me to buy something, a piece of cloth, and I have lost the money. If I go back, I'll be in trouble. He said, okay. So the Prophet ﷺ, who has so much important things to take care of, his concern is a little girl. So he takes money out of his pocket and he gives to her. But she still continues to cry. And now the Prophet ﷺ asks, why are you still crying? And she says, because no matter what time I go back, I'm late already. I'll be in trouble regardless. He said, fine. I will go with you and I will intercede for you on your behalf. So this intercession took place at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. As he took her and they went together to the house, and the Prophet ﷺ knocked. When the father had opened the door, he saw the nur of the Prophet ﷺ. He was amazed, stunned by the nur of the Prophet ﷺ. Automatically, he didn't need to be told. He didn't need to ask, who are you? He knew automatically this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I have come to you to ask for intercession of this poor little girl. And they said, how can we refuse such an intercession? How can we refuse? How can we say no? We ask for fabric of the dunya. She has brought us khairu khalqillah. She has brought us the greatest creation. And they made her free. They set her free. She was no longer a slave. That was intercession at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Amongst the narrations of the hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ was asked about his birth, the Prophet ﷺ replied that يَوْمٍ وُلِدْتُ فِيهِ. He said that the Prophet ﷺ said that this is the day when I was born. وَعُرِضَ عَلَيَّ أَعْمَالُكُمْ, and all of your deeds are shown towards me on a Thursday. These deeds, referring to this hadith, some of the scholars have translated that the only reason why these deeds are shown to the Prophet ﷺ is so that the Prophet ﷺ can intercede at that moment and ask Allah, Ya Allah, Fulan ibn Fulan ibn Fulan has committed this much sins, wipe it away from him. So a clean slate is taken to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So every Thursday the Prophet ﷺ continues, Ya Allah, Fulan ibn Fulan ibn Fulan has committed this much sins. Oh Allah, I ask of you to wipe it away from him. So these deeds go to Allah clean. So every Thursdays, we go to all of our deeds are brought together, and the Prophet ﷺ intercedes for us at this moment in time, and they go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are clean of sins. And this shafa'ah continues all the way till Yawm al-Qiyamah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He remembers us on that day, Yawmun La dillun illa dillah, that day when there is no shade apart from the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He intercedes for every single one of us individually, small and big. especially the children. The Prophet ﷺ said that that day, when there will be no shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amongst them will be the shade which will be provided for those شاب نشأ في عبادة الله, a youth, a child, a youth that has grown up in a state of worship. So these children that uprise, that come now, that become huffaz, for our scholars and our teachers, we humble ourselves to them for the great work they've done, the great work they continue to do. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us that shade, to give us that nur, to give us that love for our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and ask for forgiveness, especially if I have spoken too long, inshallah. And just a guest, jazakumullah khair.